Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
Today I think we're going to talk some about our home and why we've designed it the way we have, what we've done trying to make it age-proof.
Thank you to everybody commented about the video about basically considering your physical and mental capacity before you move out to the sticks. Not an easy topic. Takes a lot of introspection. Takes a lot of honesty. You know, as we're young, we always try to think that we're forever young. The reality is we're not. When we built this place here, we considered multiple layouts. The one we actually wanted to do, we couldn't do because we couldn't get a contractor who could do it in this area.
Yeah, one of the problems you have when you build off-grid in rural America is sometimes you can't get the professionals that are necessary to build what you have in your mind.
Right, and we were about 5 years too early. We simplified it so that it was possible that even if all the help disappeared in the whole world, we could finish it by ourselves. An important consideration when you live in the sticks. We've seen this with some other people recently where they're like, wow, we're finding we can't get anybody to come out. Wow, this broke. We have to haul it back to the store we bought it from. And it's something that you really need to consider. There are many rural areas in the United States that are not nearly as rural when it comes to services. For instance, we watched some people in the Missouri area, and they really don't seem to have any problem getting people to come out to them. Here, it's a different game. And that is one of the things that we highly recommend people check out in great detail before they commit to a full-time. You know, it's one thing if you're going out there like we had originally planned to, just as a part-time thing. If something breaks, you can make it work, you can work around it, that kind of stuff. When you're living there full-time, and there's always the danger that you'll be snowed in, rained in, whatever. Think about how much fun it would be if your stove didn't work for, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Months.
We both grew up in New England two-story style homes.
Mm-hmm. With basements.
It's no big deal walking up and down stairs when you're fit and hardy. One of the things that we benefited from was that we worked with a skilled nursing facility and assisted living facility as consultants doing marketing work for them. And we actually got a chance to go in and look at their plans while they were building their facility.
Right, and we got to see their older facility too.
And we got to see the new facility. In fact, we helped open that new facility up.
Right, so we were aware of the sort of things that people were taking into consideration. Is the doorway wide enough for a wheelchair? Maybe instead of having a swing door, you have a pocket door. We have exactly one swing door on the pantry, one swing door on the front door.
We actually have a total of 5 swing doors
in the entire building.
Of those, 2 are out swings. 2 are in swings from the outside, and then the one that goes into our pantry.
Everything else is a pocket door. And that does 2 things. If you ever live someplace where you were a little tight for space, you know you're trying to maximize always. And that swing door takes a lot of space. You know, if you can just shove a door to the side, then every little bit, if you have a foot space next to it, that's room enough for a foot-wide shelf. So we did the wider doorways. We did the pocket doors. Every door that goes to the outside here, it would be pretty easy to do a ramp if we had to.
Yeah, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 doors that go outside. The house is about a 6-inch rise off the ground, which barely meets the code in terms of being able to determine that you have insect pests that are trying to eat your house.
Right, yeah. Arizona is sort of famous for termites.
We designed the house to be one level. Now, we're not finished building the house. Our plans actually called for an additional wing to be attached. I'm not sure we'll ever build it. We may not.
If we win the lottery, we'll build it.
But the main house is one level.
Right.
There's no transoms that you have to go over. Everything is level. It's flat. That means if one of us ends up in a wheelchair or needing to use a walker or something like that, assuming we can still stay here, there's nothing to impede our access. The receptacles for electric in the house are all established within height for wheelchair access. So that means they're up higher from the floor than a typical outlet.
We never found the ones that were close to the floor to be that particularly helpful anyway, with the exception in rooms that are really huge, when they have those beautiful brass ones in the middle of the floor with a brass cover on them. That makes total sense. And we've been in homes that have those kind of places. In regular houses, I find a plug that's 18 inches off the ground to be a lot handier. So we just put everything at 18. When we built our kitchen, it's big, it's open, there's plenty of room. We considered putting an island in it, and we actually have a rolling cart that can be used as an island. We don't use it very much, but we may at some point because we're still constantly redesigning things. We don't currently have handicapped accessible countertops, but you know, anything's possible if you're determined.
The bathroom was a very specific design that we did. We had some experience with family members who had some disabilities in terms of movement and going over transoms and through doorways and a bunch of other things. So we used that experience to lay out our bathroom in a very specific way. We have a pocket door that goes into the bathroom, which means that we have about 40 square feet that we don't use out of either the room that goes into the bathroom or the bathroom itself.
Right.
It's also a wide door. It's as wide a door as we could buy standard, which is pretty darn wide. It's more than wide enough to roll a wheelchair through. I think it's probably wide enough to bring a lift in for helping somebody get to the toilet or get into the shower. The shower is large. You can
put four close friends in there.
You can put two not so close friends in easily.
Yes. Yes. And there is a built-in corner bench, which is handy for just even things like sitting and scrubbing your feet. You don't have to worry about doing the stand on one leg thing. And it's plenty big enough that if you needed to use some sort of a mobility accessibility chair, you could do that. The toilet has plenty of room. One of the things that Henry and I have always hated is when you're in a bathroom and you're banging your elbows.
You have a toilet closet, which is really a small closet that really closes in on you.
Right. Now, I don't mind. We had a very large bathroom in Texas, and that had a separate bathroom closet, but there was plenty of room. You could flap your arms in there, and it wouldn't bang into the walls. And that was one of the things we were determined that, especially since we have lived in RVs and travel trailers and things like that, we were not interested in banging our elbows.
No, we did that plenty for years.
So we were determined that we would literally have enough room to be able to do this without whacking our elbows. And that also means that if someone else needed help, they can get another person in there to assist.
Yeah, now when we designed the shower area and the toilet area, we put in special blocking in the walls, in the framing, so that if we need to have handrails to assist getting in, out, wherever, it's a simple matter of drilling the holes through the tiles that are there and mounting the special hardware.
You know, there's nothing like having a slippery shower or slippery bathtub, and just to have some place where you can grab, and you know that thing that you're hanging onto is not moving. We also have a freestanding sink in there, which is a pedestal sink, which gives you quite a bit of access around it. And there is a cabinet in there, a set of shelves and cabinet and stuff. The bottom shelf is not attached to the floor, so we could decide to redesign that space at any time just by literally grabbing that shelf and taking it out. Things that we thought about actively when we were designing. Open floor spaces that can easily be modified. our interior walls in this entire house are not load bearing.
Yeah, one of the arguments that we actually had with a couple of people who helped us, in fact, mostly helped me with doing the framing, was the issue of whether or not we wanted these walls to be load bearing, number one. And number two, where we were going to put arches in the house.
Right.
We have arches between most of the rooms. The bedroom can be closed off and the bathroom can be closed off. And our large closet can be closed off. Everything else
It's got arches between it.
Has an open shot.
But they're not lined up. And the person that was helping Henry up with the interior stuff, he was like, oh, you don't want archers. That's too much work. And we're like, we want archers. We'll do the work. And then it was like, well, you want them to line up? No, I do not want to be able to stand at one end of the house and see all the way down to the other end of the house.
So we created a sense of privacy between the spaces in our home by our choices of where we positioned openings, where we positioned the arches, and then how we use those spaces.
Mm-hmm. And that way it gives us good airflow, but you don't have a straight shot down the house. If somebody walks out of the bedroom in their underwear and somebody's coming to the front door at the same time, they don't see those underwear. For years before we built this place, we had been cutting out pictures and keeping them in notebooks.
Yeah, the other thing that we did, at the time we were traveling a fair amount, and we would go different places and we would pace a room out that we were looking for rooms that we liked the feel of.
Yes. You know, we thought about that. We thought about dead spaces. We didn't want long halls that were useless in terms of the ability to store. So we do have a hall that goes from what is now the office space down past the pantry and into the kitchen. But that hall was wide enough so that we can have storage, shelving, and cabinets on both sides of that. So it becomes a storage corridor.
Well, I hope this gives you a little glimpse of the decisions that we've made and why we've made them. I'd like to hear some of your thoughts about how you would design your own space, or if you're building one right now, what are you doing? And how are you planning for your future, whether it's a matter of are you anticipating having some disability? Hello.
Outside. Is that a semi-automatic?
No, I think that was actually a woodpecker.
It could be a woodpecker on the roof. We've had that before too.
I think it's probably knocking itself silly, hammering on that metal roof. In any case, we'd really like to hear some of your thoughts about what you're doing if you're designing a place or building a place or remodeling a place to adapt to your future.
If we had built a basement, one of the things that in our minds was a mandate was a dumbwaiter. Now, if you're not familiar with this, you don't see them super commonly in modern homes, but they were extremely common in the 1800s. A dumbwaiter is simply a miniature elevator, in effect.
You don't put people. You don't put people
in it. They usually, although I'm sure there were children who rode in them over the years, just like my cousins and I going down the laundry chute at my aunt's house. Anyway. We can admit that now because we're all over 60. Anyway, usually the dumbwaiter is about a foot to 18 inches wide, sometimes as wide as 24 inches, and about the same in the other direction. It's simply an elevator shaft that goes between floors, whether you're going up to the attic, second story, first story, basement, whatever. And there's a way to stop it at any of those locations. And usually those were all hand pulled. Say if we were going down to the basement and we wanted to take 25 pounds of potatoes down to the basement, you don't have to stagger down the stairs with a box of potatoes. Some of the worst falls I've ever taken in my life have been climbing ladders or going up or down stairs with a big heavy box. We know several people who've wound up with family members, older siblings, parents, grandparents living with them. Assuming you have the space, or even if you don't have the space, sometimes, you
make space.
You make space. Can they get in and out of the house? Can they get up and down the stairs? Can they get to the bathroom from wherever their bedroom is? Things like that. So thinking about it, think about how you store your things, how you would get things in and out. If you're going to build a root cellar, how difficult is it to get down there? There's one we saw in Alaska Very cool. And there you have to put your stuff way down in the ground in order to
keep it from freezing. Yep.
And they had a ladder for going up and down themselves, but they had a dumbwaiter for actually raising and lowering they used like small milk crates size things to carry vegetables and stuff like that up and down.
Do you know what time it is?
It is. I have to get a bunch of things done. You have to get a bunch of things done. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because obviously we're going to be doing tons more. I need to do another greenhouse tour soon because woof, seedlings have gone crazy. We had actually got some rain this week. Scary thought. And
actually quite a lot of rain.
Yeah, almost a quarter inch, and which for us is a lot of rain. And it came down really quite enthusiastically. Fortunately, the cat was not outside when it started. The last time that happened, the poor little thing was just like, ah! We have more harvesting to do, more canning to do, more everything to do.
More saying goodbye to do.
Yes. So, until next time. Bye.
Bye. Keep on brainstorming.
That's right. Keep on brainstorming.